guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is going to be a spoiler-free discussion, so don't worry if you haven't read this book yet. You're not going to be spoiled for anything. I did want to say before we get into it that I really liked this book. I talked about it a few times already. When I first picked up this book, I genuinely did not know what it was about. I knew that there was fairies in it and that it was kind of a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I forgot about that. But then as I went along through the story, I remembered it, if that makes sense. But really when I hopped into the book, I didn't know much at all about it. And I was really pleasantly surprised by it. I think part of the reason that I liked it so much was because I hadn't heard too much hype about it, in the sense that I just didn't expose myself to it. I knew that everyone loved the second book, but I thought that this book was just kind of like a stepping stone. So this book is set in a world where they're both humans and fairies, and basically the fairies rule the humans, essentially. I mean, the humans do have their own place to live, but fairies are very dominant, and humans are quite scared of fairies. And throughout the story, you follow a girl named Feyre, who is a human, and she ends up actually killing a fairy, and has to face the repercussions for doing so. She's given the choice by this beast to either go and live in Prythian, which is the fairy world in this, for the rest of her life, and she can never go back home, she can never see her family again, or she can choose to die, like a life for a life. Naturally, she chooses to live. There wouldn't be much of a story if she didn't choose to live. So you follow her journey as she kind of discovers what fairies are really like and sees their world for herself. She obviously does fall in love. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so you see that coming. It's not a surprise. I love the way that the world was described in this. I thought Sarah J. Maas's writing was really nice and kind of whimsical. Definitely not the most magical writing I've ever read, but she described things so well, and that was one of my all-time favorite parts in this book, was discovering the world and the different fairies and everything that, you know, it had to offer. I've heard kind of mixed things about Sarah J. Maas's writing before. I know that people who don't like the Throne of Glass series typically say that one of the reasons is because of her writing style, but in this book I didn't feel like it was a bad type of writing at all. I really liked it, and I felt like the world really was creative, even though it was a retelling. The retelling part of the story was very subtle, in my opinion. I was reminded of it as we went along, but it wasn't like it was being crammed down my throat. I wasn't constantly being like, okay, I get it, it's a retelling, please stop. Instead, I thought it was really subtle, and it was done in a really good way where, looking back, I can see all of the ways that it connected and became a retelling, but as I was reading it, it just felt like a genuine story. I also loved the ending. The ending was one of the coolest parts, and like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything, so I won't talk about it too much, but I thought the ending was so cool and such a fun way to wrap it up. As for the characters themselves, I kind of am neutral on every single character. There's a few main characters, and I guess we'll talk about Feyre, who is the main character, and I didn't dislike her and I didn't love her either. It was kind of just like, I like her, I'm excited to see where she goes. I thought her character development was really interesting and really well done. She definitely changed throughout the book, and I loved seeing that. I loved seeing how strong she was and also how weak she was, and how we got to see both sides of her, and she wasn't made out to be this like superhuman who can do everything and learn everything super fast. I thought that her character really developed at a solid pace, and she made mistakes in a very human fashion. As for Tamlin and Rhysand, I really don't know who I like, and I feel like to talk about them I'd have to spoil things, so I'm not gonna say too much, but I don't know who I like at this point. They're both kind of like on not great grounds with me. Things happened that I was just not very fond of. But overall, I like the characters, I like the story. Even though there are problematic things in this, the character relationships are not very healthy at all, but it was still a lot of fun to read. I kind of felt like I was reading a soap opera, where you still love it even though you know that there's issues, and even though things aren't perfect, you still like just gobble it up. So I'm very excited to get to the second book. I think that it's going to be even better than this book. It's much bigger, and I'm excited for that because I like big books. In general, I'd say if you like YA fantasy, read this book. It is a little bit, I don't know if you can put it in YA, because there's some content in here that's a little bit mature, so don't go in if you're not comfortable with that sort of thing. If you're not feeling like that's what you like to read, then just don't go into it. It is a really good story, but if you're not comfortable with mature content, don't do it. You probably won't like the book. I think I gave this book overall a 4 or 5 stars. I can't quite remember, but I really did like it, and I'm very excited for the rest of the series. I've heard really great things. So I guess that's all I have to say for this book. If you have read it, let me know what you think. Did you like it? Did you not like it? I've heard very mixed reviews after kind of watching more reviews after I read this, so let me know what you thought about it down below. Also, if you have any advice for me, I'm very new to the whole reviewing books type thing, so if there was anything missing from this review that you really wanted to see, let me know. I'm definitely welcoming in constructive criticism. I want to do more book reviews, but I'm just a little uncomfortable doing them right now. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and I can't wait to see you soon with another video. Bye!